Today, we're talking about how to survive losing an erection. So one of the reasons you lose erections repeatedly is because when it happens, you don't know how to handle the situation in a way that actually protects your confidence. Let's be honest, losing an erection is embarrassing. It hits your self-esteem fast, and when it happens once, it tends to keep happening. You carry that emotional weight into your next sexual experience, which makes it more likely that you'll fail again. But here's what most guys don't realize. It's not the lost erection that actually causes the spiral. It's how you handle it. So if you respond the right way, using the 3-step process that I'm gonna break down in this video, you can actually leave the situation feeling more confident than before. So I've coached over 100 men through this exact situation. So one of my clients recently came to me after a really tough sexual experience the night before our very first session. And he couldn't stay hard and he felt disconnected, and he left the situation feeling really ashamed and defeated. But less than 24 hours later, after just one coaching call, he had amazing sex and he told me that he finally felt like himself again. So if you don't know me, I'm Cam Joyner. So I help men overcome performance anxiety, erectile dysfunction, and get consistent, harder erections without pills, pressure, or pretending like nothing's wrong. So let's start with the first step, how to take care of yourself emotionally after you lose an erection. After a tough sexual moment, you can't just sit in the shame and the anger and the frustration and just hope it fades. You need to actively shift your emotional state. That's different for different guys, so that might mean going for a walk, putting on music that lifts your mood, or like calling a friend. Like, do anything that helps you get grounded and feel more like yourself again. Because how you feel leaving that experience matters a lot. It stays in your nervous system and it shows up the next time that you actually go into the bedroom. Think of it like a job interview. If you bomb an interview and you feel embarrassed walking out, you don't just forget about that. The next time, the stress lives in your body. So when you walk into your interview, you're more likely to stumble again. Not because you're not qualified, but because your nervous system is still on edge from the last time. Even if you don't feel amazing after doing this, lowering the pain level from a 10 down to a 6 can dramatically change how your next sexual experience goes. But here's the thing, if you want to make that emotional recovery way easier and even possibly prevent the spiral from starting in the first place, then you need to know how to handle the moment while it's happening. Because what you do in that moment can either create shame or confidence. Most guys freeze up or bail when they lose their erection. They either try to power through and pretend like nothing's happening, or they panic and shut down. But neither response helps. What works is being prepared to reset the moment, both physically and verbally. So that might start with easing back into kissing or cuddling, and you don't do this as a distraction, but as a way to calm your system down and potentially allow it time to get hard again. So for many guys, softening the moment physically, it gives the body a chance to reset, especially if the anxiety is not too bad. If the erection doesn't come back and you can tell your anxiety is still running pretty high, that's when you want to shift gears and reset expectations through what you say. So this is where a lot of guys resist the idea. They think, if I admit there's a problem, won't that just make the situation worse? Actually, no. There's a fascinating reason why. There was an experiment done in a doctor's office waiting room where every time a bell rang, everyone in the entire room would stand up. The catch? They were all actors, except for one woman who didn't know it was staged. But after a few rounds, she actually started standing up too. And when new people came in, they copied her. And even after all the original actors left, everyone kept standing just because she was still doing it. What that shows is that we don't follow logic, we follow cues. People reset their expectations of what's normal based on the environment they're in. And what's great is that this works sexually too. If you lead with calmness and openness or humor, she'll often take her emotional cue from you. If you treat the situation like it's shameful and broken, she'll absorb that. If you reset the moment confidently, she'll reset too. And this is why it's so important to have something planned ahead of time. Because trying to come up with the right words in the middle of an anxious moment almost never works, especially right after you've lost an erection. When you've already thought through what you're gonna say, you're less afraid of failure. And that alone reduces anxiety before sex even starts, because your system knows if something goes wrong, I know what to do. Here are 2 example resets that work in different contexts, so you will need to tailor this to your situation. So if you're with someone new, hey, I want to be real with you. I tend to feel more comfortable once I really get to know someone. So can we just hang out and take this slowly? This resets the pace, and it shows self-awareness, and it shows emotional maturity, which tends to increase attraction, not kill it. So here's the thing. Being emotionally mature while still being masculine and confident is rare. Like, she's not gonna find other guys on Tinder that show all of those qualities. It takes courage to say, I'm not ready to have sex, especially in a culture where most men feel like they have to say yes. Like, she wouldn't expect it. And that surprise can actually be incredibly intriguing. There's something else at play here. So we tend to value what we have to earn. So she can go out and get sex anytime she wants. But with you, for some reason, she has to wait. And that makes her lean in, not pull away. Now, I know some guys will hear that and think, won't that just create pressure to be amazing when it does happen? Not if you've been leading the whole time. Because when you set the pace, when you show self-control, when you're honest about what's happening, you're building safety in your body, not tension. And by the time that you're ready to have sex, your nervous system is more relaxed and the connection is actually stronger. And connection is what creates better sex, not pressure or perfection. So now let's switch gears and look at if you're with someone that you've been with for a while. So I'm feeling a little anxious tonight. Would you mind just helping me relax a bit before we keep going? So that turns your partner into a teammate instead of someone that you're trying not to disappoint. It builds connection instead of tension. And this is exactly the kind of thing I work with my coaching clients. So if you're not sure what to say or how to keep her engaged while also protecting your own emotional state, this is something we can craft together. So there's a link in the description if you want to learn more about working with me. Here's why this matters. Most of the pain around losing erections actually just comes from the gap between expectations and reality. So you expect to get hard easily, give her an amazing experience, and never let her down. And she probably expects to have sex. So when that doesn't happen, you both feel like something's broken. But when you take the lead and reset those expectations, you close that gap, and that prevents shame. And that's what makes it easier for your body to get hard again, maybe even the same moment. Handled right, that one moment can shift your confidence and your entire dynamic with her. And finally, the most powerful thing that you can do to survive these moments is to avoid them entirely when you know they're coming. So you probably know that feeling, your mind is spinning, your body's tense, you're already doubting whether you'll stay hard. If you're in that state, just don't have sex. It's okay. If it's someone new, tell her you want to take things slow and connect more first. And if it's your partner, let her know you're just not in the right headspace. And this isn't avoidance, it's leadership. You're protecting your own emotional state, and you're teaching your body that you won't force it into painful failure. This builds trust between you and your nervous system, and that trust leads to better sex, stronger erections, and more ease overall. So let's bring this all together. If you take care of your emotions afterwards, if you handle the moment with calm honesty, you reset the expectations with confidence, and then you avoid the guaranteed failures when needed, then you don't just survive a lost erection, you actually break the cycle. You stop stacking shame, and you start building real sexual confidence. But here's what most guys want to know after this. What's actually going to help me get harder erections in the first place? There are dozens of fixes out there. Viagra, supplements, mindset tools. Some are way more powerful than others. And believe me, I've tried all of them. And the best thing that I found is something that no one is talking about. And if you want to learn more about that, you can watch this video here.